My senior year of college, I chose to direct a play, No Exit, by Jean-Paul Sartre. It's a phenomenal play. It's set in a single room in hell. Three characters are there. Estelle, who is the blonde debutante who married up, had an affair, and that's why she's in hell. She has a thing for Joe. Joe is a coward who fled a war and was killed, and that's why he's in hell. And then Joe is seeking redemption from Inez, who slept with her cousin's wife, and that's why she's in hell. Unexpectedly, there is no torture devices and no fire and brimstone. They're just in a room decorated in the Second French Empire style with each other. A play of this magnitude taught by a philosopher requires a lot of work. And so we would tell lines over and over, and then after we finished doing lines, we would have talks about the philosophy and the story behind the play. And I remember a night where I shared my deepest secret with Natalie, who was playing our Inez. Natalie was debating with me the feminist manifesto. She was playing our lesbian character and was talking about the problems on campus with misogyny, with the fraternity culture, with how difficult it is to deal with slut-shaming and the challenges of being a woman, which I totally sympathized with to the extent I could. And I remember the look in her eyes when she looked at me and she said, you know, 1 in 4 women is raped. 1 in 4. How could you ever sympathize with that? 4 years prior, I was 18. I was just spreading my wings my first year on campus. I was the type of kid who wore overalls 17 sizes too large and a t-shirt that was covered with stars for my first trip to the Air and Space Museum. I remember my roommate in early October had invited some friends up, and we had decided to drink our way from one side of the campus to the other, from fraternity to fraternity, and halfway through we stopped at my dorm, and half the people were inside relieving themselves of the alcohol that they consumed, and the other half were stopping for drinks. And my roommate's friend who was up was there, and staring off into the distance outside behind the dorm, I felt him behind me, and his warm breath like swamp air, and the feeling of him against me, and the whispers in my ears that I liked it. And I remember looking at the globes of the lights and how they turned into stars through my tears, and how I didn't understand what was going on, and how for 3 days I couldn't sleep because he was there sleeping on the couch in my roommate's bed, and how when he got on the bus to leave, all the shame set in, and the blaming of myself, and the looking for the reasons why. Natalie cried with me that night. We stared into each other's eyes, and then I admitted the final injustice. That not a month before, I had run into my freshman year roommate, and we were at a party, and he looked at me and he said, "Do you remember Sal?" And I felt the bile rise up in my throat and all the fear come back to me. And I remember he said, "He's in jail now. Apparently he was diddling little boys." And I suddenly had a brand new scar to put with all the old ones. That somehow I was to blame for not speaking up, for not saying my piece, for not having anything to say for myself or for other people. That perhaps I was complicit in this destruction of other people. No Exit has within it the essential existential epithet. Hell is other people, utters one character. At the conclusion of the play, a door opens in this room in hell, and each character is offered this eternal purgatory of solitude, of being alone for the rest of their lives or the rest of their eternities. And each of the characters looks at each other, and quietly Joe closes the door. The three characters choose, instead of this solitude and this loneliness, to spend an eternity seeking forgiveness exposing their scars to the world.